Your band, 10,000, will be performing at the Rock for Regal gig. How did you come to be involved with this?
We got a message from the lads from Arcane Saints just asking us to jump on the lineup with a few other local Melbourne bands, and when we saw what it was all about and the cause for it, we thought we've got to jump on this and throw our support behind it.
It's for raising money for motor neuron disease, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's for a guy called Adam Regal who recently got diagnosed with motor neuron disease. He just lost his father and uncle to the same disease, and so they did the same thing in New South Wales, and they raised $8,000, which is amazing. Wow. So we're all hoping to do the same thing down here, and all the proceeds will go to the Macquarie University for their research into that, finding a cure, because at the moment there's no cure for it. So it's really important that we raise as much money as we can and do what we can to get on top of this, you know.
Absolutely, it's a really good cause. It's good you guys are getting on board too.
Yeah, look, any chance we can help out a fellow lover of rock and roll and an all-around good bloke, you know, so...
Absolutely, mate. So, 10,000 have a very unique sound with influences from prog to classic rock. How did the sound come about?
It kind of came about by utilising, 21st century methods instead of the old notice board in the classroom thing. Marty put up a notice on Melband, and then Brandon answered, then Jay answered, and then they found a drummer, and then I got a Facebook message asking me to come up from Warrnambool to audition, and ever since then it's pretty much been how it's been rolling from that.
Okay. Would you say your guys' musical influences are pretty varied with all the different influences that go into it?
Yeah, it's really eclectic. We love everything from classic like Zeppelin, I'm a huge Beatles fan, to 9 Inch Nails, electronica, Queens of the Stone Age. We absorb a lot of music and always looking for new ideas to excite us, and then we'll bring it into the rehearsal room and try it out and put it in the melting pot and just never know what's going to come out, so it always makes it exciting for us and hopefully exciting for those who are listening as well.
When you got so many influences, do you think it just, when you're writing music, it comes out naturally from everything that you listen to, or do you consciously say, I'm going to write a song that's kind of 9 Inch Nails meets the Beatles?
That's a really good question. I think it's more just the general zeitgeist of our psyche at any given time. So we seem to be quite fluid in how we move, and so at the moment we're currently halfway through writing our next album, and we're all on the same sort of vibe. We want it to be a bit more aggressive than the first one, and because we're writing in such an intensive time period, it's just cohesively coming together quite well without much conscious effort on our part to okay, it has to be like this or it has to be like that. It's all very natural and it just flows without much thought.
That's always good. It always comes across as more real and spontaneous, and I think people appreciate music like that a lot more. Yeah,
hopefully. It really comes from the heart. We're not trying to please anyone or adhere to any market, which could be to our detriment, but we're just a bunch of guys playing music that we love and we get a kick out of, so hopefully others do too.
That's cool. I think the best music's always been written that way. I mean, people do it for themselves, and then hopefully and usually other people pick up on it.
Yeah. I think that's where genuine art comes from. You know, you gotta. I guess in our line of work, you gotta find the balance between the art and the entertainment factor. You gotta please give people what they want, but at the end of the day, we have to do what we want and do what we love. And if people like it, cool. If not, that's fine. But we're just gonna keep doing what we want to do and see where it goes with each album.
Nice. So being an independent band, how do you guys raise money for your recordings and touring and instrument maintenance, etc.?
We're very, very smart, and we're very fortunate to be well connected and know people around us who have a lot of skill sets that they can donate. So we all pulled our money together and bought our own recording desk. Okay. And for the studio that we're going to be using, one of the guitarist's dad dad works across the road from the studio, and he struck up a relationship with the landlord, so we got a really good deal there. Photography, we know some really good people, like Marty's brother, Matty, does a lot of brilliant work for us. So it's just about being resourceful and being smart and just cutting costs wherever you can, but always putting out the best product at the end of the day.
Your album, First Light, it's been released on USB, but not CD or vinyl?
No, plans for vinyl down the track, because we all love vinyl. It's like an event when you open it up and get all the artwork, but we just felt CD is such a kind of dying format. Like a lot of music retailers are phasing out CDs, and we wanted a physical format, but we wanted something with a talking point, so we thought the USB, like a little credit card with the artwork on the front, would be a great little feature, and we've had a lot of awesome feedback from that. People saying, I wish more bands would do that. But yeah, it's also available digitally. It's just the way the industry's going, I think. I think as much as my CD collection is sitting in a box at home, I just don't use them anymore, and the more and more people I talk to don't use them either. So we're just trying to adapt to what the market's doing.
Yep. And the USB comes with a video clip as well for the single.
Yeah, that's the advantage of it. So it's got the full album, clips, artwork, like liner notes, lyrics, heaps of tour pics and recording pics, all the things you couldn't necessarily put onto a CD or even just the digital download sort of thing. So we're really trying to utilize what we can and just be smart again about it and create talking points. And
what first got you interested in music, and who was the special musician or band that inspired you to pick up the bass?
Oh, I love that question. For me personally, when I remember I was 15 years old and my friend sat me down, put the headphones on and said, listen to this, and it was the Beatles, and I had no idea, and I'm like, oh, what's this band? And he's like, oh, it's the Beatles, and I went to the next track, and he's like, what's this? Is it still the Beatles? He's like, yes. And from that moment, for the first time, music actually mattered to me, and my musical taste branched out from there. When I first picked up the bass, my dad, who I hadn't seen in quite a while, sent me $1,000 to buy a PlayStation. And I thought, no, I don't want to do that. I want to get into music, because at the time we used to practice in the drama room, and there were two guitarists and a drummer, but no bass. I remember one time the guitarist started playing Iron Man by Black Sabbath, and all the girls ran up to the window looking in. I'm like, right, I'm not buying a PlayStation, I'm going out to buy a bass guitar. So that's what I did, and I haven't looked back. Nice.
With all the streaming services and the social media to self-promote bands and the other ways to get your music out there, do you think old school ways like radio is still important?
I think radio definitely has its place. Definitely. It's about the market readjusting and recalibrating itself to include all these different formats now. And a lot of radio can be listened to online as well. I think the importance of the smaller radio stations is that when you can't always get your music onto Triple J or Triple M or those bigger stations, these smaller ones do a really good job of creating awareness for people who otherwise would have no idea that your music actually existed. So yes, it's still a very important part of the industry, I would say.
Do you think Melbourne's music scene is growing? Do you think there's more people coming out to gigs recently?
I think Melbourne is, in my experience, I could be totally wrong, is the last bastion of live music in the country. Just travelling around, every time we play in Melbourne, it's we always feel so grateful and so appreciated that people do come out. You get your hardcore people who come out to every show and support the scene. And I think with the ESPY closing, it's sort of forced other venues to take up the slack, and like the Elephant Wheelbarrow and places like that. I think it's a very vibrant, healthy, positive scene that's doing its best to fight the sort of downward trend of where live music in the rest of the country seems to be going. Like a lot of, you get a lot of like the acoustic sort of duos or DJ sets who do amazing music. I'm not knocking that at all, but it's sort of taken the, knocked rock off its pedestal a little bit. But in Melbourne, it's still a very healthy and vibrant and growing scene, and it's really good because a lot of these bands, we can come up together and support each other and build a little community, it's really close. It's really good.
A lot of bands seem to go to Europe and Japan, and some have even relocated permanently to take the band to the next level. Can that be something that 10,000 would look at in the future?
Definitely. It's very, very on the cards for next year. Purely because as much as we love this country, the population density isn't enough to sustain a viable marketplace, if you know what I mean. Because you go to Europe or you go to the States, you go to Asia, you've got huge cities like every 100, 200 kilometers, heaps of places to play. The downside is, okay, you're competing with way more bands, but I think in order to go to the next level, you have to take your music over there. And it's also about finding where your music is most absorbed. Where's the best marketplace for it? It could be in Asia, could be in Europe, could be America.
Yep.
But you have to go and find out. And then you look at the trend of the way Australians receive Australian bands. It's usually not until they've gone overseas and made a mark, some sort of mark like AC/DC or NXS, etc., and then come back, that they have this sort of social value or credibility to them that a lot of Australians will then stand up and take a bit more notice. So yeah, definitely.
Apart from heading overseas maybe next year, what else is next for the band in the next 6 months, say?
Okay, so next month we are doing an East Coast tour with another band called The Charge. Okay. Playing Adelaide all the way up to Sydney, Brisbane, Byron, and then straight after that we play. So we've got a gig on Saturday the 14th at Whole Lot of Love, and the very next day in November we hit the studio for 3 weeks to do our second album. And then after that, there's plans for another film clip. And then really look at hitting the festival circuit and overseas for next year. We just have to get out there, get overseas and show them what we've got, basically. Soul Survivor pretty much came about in a jam with all of us, trying to channel, I don't know what we're trying to channel. It just came out, but it's thematically about if you were the last person on the face of this earth, would you still want to continue living, or would you just want to end it all? It's not a suicide song, but it's just what does it mean to be alive, and what does your life mean to you? And yeah, hopefully it can lift people and elevate people into thinking about what their life means to them.
Okay. A bit like the Amiga Man movie.
Yeah, or that Will Smith movie or whatever it is, you know.
Legion,
yeah, if you could live forever, would you, after 100 years, would you be like, no, what's the point without other people?